Hello and welcome. Phil Nichols, Chris Evans with you as we talk election results the day after Guthrie registered voters got out and vote. How many, where, all that good stuff coming up here in a minute. But first, this show is brought to you by our good friends at Mosquito Authority.
Mosquito Authority. It's all good. Ronnie and Sarah Phillips. Sarah, I mean, she runs the show.
Well, sure.
We call her 51% around the family.
Majority owner.
Majority owner. They're doing a great job. Stepped out into business ownership, bought a Mosquito Authority franchise. Very exciting times for them and their family. I do want to, do you happen to know their phone number off the top of the head?
I don't.
Let me pull it up real quick. I don't want to
It's up and running. It's a brand new business.
You can reach Sarah at 580-380-3460. Give her a shout and she can get you taken care of. If Sarah is busy running the company, which I'm sure she will be, you can go to the B team, to Ronnie. His number is 580-380-3943.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him, but give him a call. Do a great job. Chris and I are both customers.
Yes.
And excited to get out there. Our pool, I'm always battling flies and mosquitoes, and we're excited to get rid of those pesky things. I think I've spent a small fortune trying to get rid of them myself, and I can't.
Yeah.
So they've got a cool system, a mist system that does really cool things, and so excited about that, excited for their family.
Our family loves outdoor time. We built a pergola. We have neighbors just come out and have a good time like you do probably. And my wife somehow attracts mosquitoes. She'll get bit 25 times before I ever feel one. But the first time she gets, it's indoors, and our friends go and do whatever they do. So
Sam's sweet.
Yeah. So
she listening?
Probably.
Okay, good. Sam's sweet.
I'm ready to get rid of those mosquitoes, and Mosquito Authority can do that for you. We appreciate them sponsoring this show. Election, Phil, that last night, voters got out and voted 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and we had the results by 8:20 last night. And before we get into the visitor tax and all that good stuff, a big thank you to all the people who worked at the polls.
Yes.
If you go there, there's going to be a minimum of 3 people there. You're going to have a Republican representative, a Democrat representative, and then an inspector to overlook all that good stuff. And I think that's a great system. Kind of overlooks the integrity of the entire deal. But a big thank you to all those great poll sponsors poll workers, I should say.
Poll workers,
out there, because it's a lot of time at 12, 13, 14-hour days for them, setting up, breaking down, talking people's ballots. Some people walked in there and said, I'm ready to vote. And they're like, well, this list says you don't live in the city limits, which I can imagine that's frustrating for people. So big thank you to them. And also Shalene and Sandy and John at the election board office. And these numbers that we're going to go over here in a bit are unofficial. They'll certify those votes on Friday at the election board. But they are extremely busy over the election, getting ready for this here. And then they got training coming on. They're going to have 8 more precincts, Logan County, with the new redistricting line, with the growth of Logan County. We were at 22 precincts. That's changing. That's going to be 30 precincts in Logan County. So they got to come up with 8 new locations, which is 24 people. So if you want to volunteer, be a poll, I don't know if it's
poll worker.
Poll worker. I don't know if it's. I think volunteer. I'm not sure.
Pretty sure it's volunteer.
I think it is too. But if you want to do that, give them a call. 405-282-1900. Shalene, Sandy, or John can help you there. And they're getting ready for a busy. They got training coming up, but then they got the June primaries, which you talk about county offices, statewide offices. It's a busy time for them. Yeah,
busy time, and that's a very underappreciated job. And whether you're a volunteer, you're a paid employee, our democracy doesn't work if you don't have these people willing to volunteer their time and to commit their professional lives to that kind of work as well for those that this is their profession. So we do appreciate them, and what they do is extremely important.
You always hear about election, all that good stuff. Oklahoma does it pretty. Does it almost perfect. Is it perfect? Probably not, but they are pretty close.
Pretty good compared to a lot of places.
System. Yeah, absolutely. So April 5th was the City of Guthrie special election, not Special Olympics, special election.
That's coming up, though.
Yeah, it is coming up in May over in Stillwater. Well, I always participate in that. But the visitor tax, it went with the approval. We'll get the numbers here in a second. With the approval, 4% to 7%. That extra 3% will go toward improvements to the sports facilities. As you probably know by now, Guthrie won a grant, matched that grant 50-50, a $2 million total purse. They're waiting for that money to be released by the state, but that will help that facility. But also, don't forget, we got a soccer facility.
Yep.
And there's also Kiwanis Field. So it's not just a sports complex. It's any sports facility that the city may have now or in the future. Maybe there's a great grant, or someone gives land or donates a bunch of money. I know you're out there somewhere. And they say, the city, you can have this as long as it goes to youth soccer.
Yep.
And so if that were to come on board, you know, that this funding would go to that.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it was, I mean, compared to a lot of elections, this was a very mild election, as far as the yeses and the nos, and I don't know if people believe this or not, but we were both very strong yeses on this because of what we believe it will do for our community, our businesses, and most importantly, provide great facilities for our kids.
Yeah.
But I appreciate the nos and the yeses and the process that goes back and forth, and we've said this repeatedly, but we're all part of an extended family here. Now, I may be the third cousin you don't like seeing at the family reunion sometimes, but it's okay.
Yeah.
We're all family, and we got to figure out a way to coexist. And I feel that way when there's been elections that what I thought needed to happen didn't happen, and I feel that way when I think what needs to happen does happen. You know, we're still a small community that's got to come together, and that's what I'm excited about. I think, you know, and I've already talked to a few people that were staunchly no on this, but now that it's passed, they're like, okay, let's go to work, you know? I mean, and that's you know, that's the process. So I appreciate everybody that got out and voted.
So here's some of the numbers. There were 9 precincts. There's 10 total within the city limits, but only 9 precincts were open yesterday because one precinct didn't have any registered voters in that area. But Harmony Community Church had 17 voters. Lakeview Baptist Church, 31 voters. Guthrie Housing Authority, 47 voters. Guthrie Christian Church, 42 voters. Generations Church, 49 voters. Noble Avenue Baptist Church, 28 voters. First Christian Church, 164 voters. And First Assembly of God Church, 67 votes were there. And thank you to all these polling locations. We thought the poll workers as well, but also thank you to all these churches and also to the Housing Authority for hosting for the election board. Okay, so those are the specific numbers. Total, Phil, when you add all those up, it's 720 votes were casted. Total registered voters, the people who were eligible to vote, if everybody who was registered was able to vote yesterday, got out and vote, there's 5,778 registered voters that could have voted yesterday. Only 720 got out. I say only, however, Phil and I were talking beforehand. We were thinking about 400 would be the number there. And that, if you do the math, so 12.4% of registered voters got out and vote. I know it sounds horrendous, but that's pretty darn good for one question.
Yeah.
And as you were talking about earlier, there's more people who pop when there's names on the list.
No doubt. No doubt.
Or marijuana or alcohol. Those get people out. But just one question for 720 registered voters. My hat's off to Guthrie voters getting out and voting yes or no. Yeah,
it could always be better. Everybody wants it to be better. I made this comment, you know, in my entire life, I think I voted for the first time in 1984. I was able to vote, and it's, you know, for the first time in my entire life, that's about where it lands.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. Wish it was better.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, and I think too, there's, you know, because it's one single ballot, the people only in the city got to participate in the voting process because that's where the tax would go.
Yeah.
You know, it just didn't lend itself to, I think, as much controversy, and I think also the subject matter. I think a lot of people, honestly, and I think the vote kind of shows that, said, yeah, we want this. And I think that, and this is scary because this is why you need to always get out and vote. But I think a lot of times people think, well, it's going to pass, so I don't need to vote. You know, and so
you cannot assume anything.
You can't assume anything.
Elections.
No, you can't. Yeah. You can't. But anyway, yeah, it was great. You know, overall, I think a good turnout. Now, I did talk to some people who thought there'd be at least 1,000. You know, I've heard some people say that this morning, and they were much closer. I mean, they were more right than I was. I mean, because I was pretty firm. I didn't think it'd even get to 400. I thought it'd be high threes. So, like many things in my life, I was just a wee bit off.
Just off, but again, it doesn't sound like. But covering these elections, and there's been one race on the west side where only 200 people voted, and the difference was someone being elected to the city council was 6 votes. One time it was 9 votes, the other time it was 9 votes. So every vote has counted in those small ones. But to see that, I think it's great. 720 registered voters, I think, is almost doubled what I thought there.
Can I say this real quick? I want to compliment the city council. And the reason I want to compliment them, and I think it was Dawn, was it Dawn Channel that raised the issue about we need to put this to a vote of the people? Was he the first one who brought that up?
I'm not sure. I know Leroy, also the city manager and staff, presented it to the city council for their final decision to go there. But James Long and Brian Bothroyd were real
adamant about it.
Adamant, yeah.
But I think whoever it was,
and Dawn too.
Yeah, the whole city council, I want to commend them because what they did is they said, you know what, this is a decision that needs to be made by the citizens.
Yes.
And man, as representatives, I think that's all you can do. You're giving your constituents the ultimate say. You're letting them go to the ballot box and vote.
Yep.
And so I really commend them for doing that. I think that was spot on the right way to do it.
Yeah, a lot of credit to Dan Kasich, Shonda Rooney, Eric Harlow, Justin Fortney, and Leroy also at the city to get all the information together to present to the council and then to present it to the public. And then, so that, a lot of work goes into it.
Yeah, a lot of work.
A lot of work goes into it. Final vote, the yes votes had it, 445 yes votes, 275 no votes, so nearly 62%, 61.81% officially, and for the no votes, it was 38.19. This tax will begin for lodging, for hotels, motels, bed and breakfasts, and Airbnbs. That increase begins on July 1st.
July 1st.
And so now the next steps, waiting for the state to release that $1 million on that grant that has already been awarded. The tribes got involved a little bit. They want to make sure to dig the dirt, make sure there's no tribal land, which I don't think there's any tribal land in Logan County.
I don't think so either, but who knows?
They want to make sure.
Yeah, it's part of the process.
Part of the process.
So the money hasn't been released yet.
It has not been. It's been awarded, but not released.
You know what I'm getting at.
Yeah. But hopefully we can start renovating those.
Yeah.
The plans are not solidified on what the complex looks like. It's close, but there will be public meetings. It won't be any secret, I promise. The public will get to see that and have some input, and because we want, it's a city project, but it's for the youth, and I think more people who see it and have ideas. Every idea that I had, it won't be in there because I want all this stuff, but $2 million can only go so far.
Yeah.
This is phase 1 too.
Yeah, it's phase 1, and I think, you see though too, what we voted on was to speak to what these dollars will go to, because we have the matching funds with the grant and the matching funds, which has not been released yet. I want to say that again.
Yes.
There's some people out there floating ideas that money's already been released and all these bad things are happening. That's just not the case.
Not the case.
So this money that's generated through this, I think the estimates have been around 150,000.
Yeah, 150,000.
Right around there ish. Walk them through what exactly that will go towards. What is that for?
That would go through big improvements at the sports facilities. Right now, like the soccer field, their concession stand could be improved. Their bathrooms could be improved. And these sports facilities will still run their leagues, and they'll still run concession stands. That won't be funding that. This is for big projects. So stuff like fuel for the tractor, chalk for the baselines, new bases, all that stuff.
Nets for the soccer goals.
All that stuff. That is through the league still.
Yeah.
This is to help big projects. Starting off, the parking lot will not be perfectly paved. I think it might be rock, just because $2 million does not go fast when you start putting all this stuff together. But maybe one day it needs to be nice paved parking lot, asphalt, all that good stuff. This is where these big improvements could come in. The first phase doesn't count scoreboards. Maybe this funding could go to scoreboards, or Kiwanis could use bigger, more parking, more paid parking, big items like that. So
yeah, and I think the other thing is, I've seen some comments about, well, geez, that's a lot of money, and that's like, and somebody even went in there to do, supposedly pull where the average facility costs this to build, and this, what I would just tell people is, no two facilities are exactly alike. And I can just, believe me, the people that are overseeing this are very conscious of what things are costing.
Yes.
Very, very conscious of it. There's an entire citizens board that's involved in this.
All the youth leagues are
so
involved.
many checks and balances, so many people paying attention to what's going on. And I'm very trusting of everything that comes out of the government, right? You know that about me. I mean, I just
you never
lay my head down every night and just believe everything's true. But, I have a lot of comfort that this is going to be managed correctly. And that's a big thing, I think, for a lot of people.
Absolutely. There's checks and balances. The city manager reports to the city council. The people represent, they put the city council people in there. So I know I will be.
And then the individual boards in the leagues.
Yes.
I mean, so there's a lot of people looking at this.
I'm sure soccer people make sure they get in the front.
Yeah, they'll pay attention.
Softball's getting there.
There'll be a lot of people paying attention.
Yeah. So, but that's I think it's great. And, another thing, funding this could be, when you start off, at sports complex, it's always nice to be walking on concrete, not mud and dirt and grass. Maybe a big project would put more concrete walking spaces in there. So it can go, and it's only $150,000 a year projected. And I mean, money on this stuff can go quick. So it will take a process. Will it be 10 baseball fields and 15 softball fields at the beach? No, it won't be that. Yeah. But it's the step. I mean, how long have we been talking about? 30, 40 years?
For a year. Brian Jenkins, I always got to say this, not the tall Brian Jenkins, the shorter Brian Jenkins.
The one that can't put you in jail.
The one that can't put you in jail. He saw me this morning. He said, I was trying to get this done for 20 years. I step away from the board and it passes. He says, what does that say? Yeah. He's laughing, but for at least 20 years, because that's what Brian told me this morning.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time coming.
And we started off, the 80 acres out by the highway. It was going to be millions. Well, that wasn't realistic.
Wasn't going to happen.
Went behind Taco Mile, behind Walmart, in a great location, middle downtown. Great location. Not realistic. So the Owens Park, city already owned the land. Infrastructure's out there. That saved millions of dollars right there. So I think it's the most realistic, but also a great location and a great place to grow it.
It's going to be awesome. I mean, people are going to be driving in off 35. They're going to be getting gas in their cars. Going to be buying snacks. Going to be buying food from restaurants. Going to be getting groceries. Going to be making runs to different stores in the community to get things as they need. Families are going to be spending the night. They're going to be going out to restaurants. They're going to be buying food. They're going to be, you're a baseball family, and you guys travel to a lot of tournaments.
Yes.
I mean, for people that don't really know, when there's tournaments, baseball tournaments or softball tournaments, hundreds and hundreds of people come to this.
Absolutely.
I mean, you got an 11-year-old son playing. Many of them, they're going to bring at least 2 adults and usually some siblings, Many times you'll see grandparents there,
Absolutely.
Aunts, uncles, friends. I mean, there's a lot of folks that get out. Baseball's a big draw, and softball, they're big draw. Soccer, big draw. There's a lot of folks that'll be able to come out and really benefit from this, and I think the whole community is going to benefit.
In a way, a lot of these ball tournaments work, and there's usually 2 games on Saturday, then you play a bracket on Sunday, but you might play at noon on Saturday, then your next game might be at 6 o'clock, so you have basically 4 or 5 hours in between.
You're waiting.
To go, then that's where people go eat lunch, they go shop, because you got to have sunflower seeds, you got to have athletic tape.
A pair of socks, I forgot my socks, I need a jacket, I forgot my jacket.
I need to kill time, it's hot, I don't want to be at the ball field when I don't have to.
Let's go get an ice, let's go get a shaved ice, Let's go get some ice cream, it's going to be a very, very good thing, and I think that, with all due respect to the folks that are scared that it's not, I can't wait for it to happen so that not because it's an I got you or I told you so, so they'll see the benefit of it, because it's going to be a benefit.
It's going to be very rewarding.
These communities draw tons of people into town for these events. So
I'll be in Norman this weekend.
Be in Norman this weekend, spending your money there and not here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, and that's just the reality.
Yeah.
So it's all good.
Fort Smith a couple weeks ago, and
Did you stay in a hotel when you were in Fort
We
Smith?
did. Hampton Inn.
Yeah. What was the sales tax there? Do you remember the hotel motel tax?
Trust me, I don't know what it was at the beginning, but at the end, I always
Now.
now I like, can I get that itemized? And they're like, well, okay, that's random, and just because
You want to see?
I see it
Yeah.
and mess with sales tax numbers and all
Yeah,
that stuff.
yeah.
Just see what people are, and it average 15 to 20% somewhere in that area. So
Well, and I think there's just a lot of good things that are going to come from this. And at the end of the day, we said this a few days ago, nobody can give definitive facts right now because we haven't done it yet. So we're all going off what we believe and what our experiences and our research has told us. And so I'm excited for the people in the community because I think businesses are going to really benefit from this.
absolutely, it's not a Guthrie thing. Everybody
wins.
The
So a typical team on a baseball tournament, how many teams are coming to town usually?
Like my youngest is in 12 and under, so there's minimum 8 teams. That doesn't count 11 and under, 10 and under.
And 8 teams, and on each team there's roughly how many kids usually? 13, 14?
This year we have 10 to 11 on our team.
Okay.
But this weekend, because school ball's interfering, we'll have 13 kids on
Okay.
Sunday.
So you have 13. So let's just call it 10. We'll go low.
Yeah.
We'll go with 10 kids.
10 is comfortable because everyone can play.
So you got 10 kids. You got how many teams?
Each age group, usually you like to have at least 8, but sometimes there's
More.
like when you go to Moore, Buck Thomas
Yeah.
Park, and
Yeah.
you go to Norman, you're going to have 10 and 12 teams per.
So you got 80 young people coming to town. Take it times, we'll be conservative, times 3 people coming to watch them. You can see how the numbers grow quickly.
Yeah.
They're going to be coming to our community to watch their loved ones play.
Right.
I promise you they're going to spend money in Guthrie,
And
Oklahoma.
there are some facilities that have 20, 25, 30 fields.
Right.
Guthrie won't have
Right,
that,
won't have that right
at
away.
the beginning,
Right.
but it's all about the right steps. Trust me, I wanted the big O stadium. I wanted
Oh,
the big
yeah.
deal. It just, and you told me, it's just not realistic. So, but, if it's 8 teams one weekend, 8 teams the next weekend, it's a start.
It grows.
And it grows, and
Yeah.
you can start going on to phase 2, phase 3 of the sports complex. And phase 2 might be 10 years from now. It might be next, who knows?
And one thing that's cool, we all know this, you get somebody to come to Guthrie, they love it.
Yes.
I mean, they're going to want to come back. Whether there's baseball or not, they're going to want to come back. We have an awesome town. I mean, it's just cool. It's a cool town.
Yes.
So you're going to get folks that are going to want to come back. Many times this is their first exposure on a little different deal, but similar. UCO, hosting all the state championship football games.
Yes.
That's a major deal for UCO, but also for the community of Edmond.
Yes.
I mean, because many times these kids from Veneta, they've never stepped foot on the campus at UCO. They know nothing about it. And they come up for a state championship game, and now they're going, well, heck, this is an option.
Yeah.
This is cool.
Yeah.
So that exposure is so valuable also.
And we're focusing, and we're going to wrap with this. We're talking about all these great weekend turns, but also on Monday and Tuesday and Thursday nights, local kids won't be in the flats fighting mosquitoes, going to concession stand that's on wheels with porta potties. Our local youth are going to be playing on nice facilities.
Which they deserve.
We're talking lights and dugouts and stuff like
Well,
that.
tell them a quick story about the first time Kel man when he went to a game.
Kel was probably 8. I think we played T-ball.
It's almost 10 years ago.
Yeah. But
Leaving for Europe in a couple years.
went to Edmond to play in the Edmond League at Hafer Park, and he's like, "Oh, Dad, look, they have real dugouts."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" And he was excited because the lights were bright on every single field. They had scoreboards, and that's little something.
Big deal, though.
It is a big deal.
It's a big deal, and our kids deserve to have those, and they deserve to be able to experience that in their hometown.
Right.
I mean, to me, that it drives me nuts when I talk to people like Chris. It was years ago, Chris and Sam they were somewhere, and so I said, "Yeah, I'll get Kel." To remember when he was playing flag football.
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, I'll take him to practice."
Mitch Park.
And driving all the way in there, I'm like, "Dang it! I can't believe we've got to take him into Edmond to participate." Because you want your Guthrie kids to experience these things with their friends from Guthrie.
Right.
I mean, that's part of the charm and part of the wonderful thing of living in a small community.
And there's 5 or 6 Guthrie teams that play baseball or softball. It's like, real quick, we keep thinking baseball and softball, but another thing that popped in mind for soccer and their facility they have right now, this funding could help maybe with LED lights. They can't play night games.
Can't play night games, yep.
And when you have lights, you can play night games, and you can have more tournaments because you can have more games.
More time to get them done.
More age groups or
Yep,
however you want to do it. So, again, appreciate all 720 people out there who were able to vote. I know there was plenty more who wanted to, but simply lived just outside the city limits, and unfortunately, some people learned the hard way. That
and that's hard.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, that line has to stop somewhere.
It does.
I should be in the city limits, true, but that line has to stop somewhere.
We're going to let people in Cashin vote on issues that touch Guthrie? I mean.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Anyway,
we appreciate it, and we appreciate our sponsor, Phil, the great folks at
Mosquito Authority.
Mosquito Authority.
Yeah. 51% or call Sarah.
All right. Appreciate it.